Welcome to ZIPS Nation Insider. My name is Jacob Farrar, here with Grant Bogdan.
Hello, hello.
Grant, you're back.
We're back in the suite.
Back in the suite, as well as you back in your chair as in our banter segment, as we like to call it here on ZIPS Nation Insider. Also, it's a little bittersweet.
One last time.
This is your last time
is
here.
my last time.
We're not sure what we're going to do. I don't think you can be replaced. We'll do our best.
Chad's done pretty good in my absence.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, Chad's okay, but we'll see what happens. But we're excited. We're not going to talk too deep into your next step, but we know that you're going to be on to some greater and better things. So
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your involvement with the podcast.
It's been great.
Excited for you to see what goes on in your next chapter. But before that, we got to recap just a little thing that happened over the weekend.
Small achievement over the weekend.
A small achievement over the weekend. Let's talk about the MAC tournament.
Yes. Back-to-back MAC tournament champs. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row we're going to the NCAA tournament. We're going dancing. Great tournament all around. Great final game, obviously. I think that's the big storyline is that final versus Miami. Obviously down 18. It really didn't feel like things were going the right way for a majority of the game. Until a big second half and a big late push, led by Nate Johnson with that game-winning layup there with just a couple seconds left to win it.
The Euro step and lay-in. You know, it's interesting, that game, a couple things that stood out was just Miami could not miss that first half of three. It's just, oh my goodness.
Lights out.
Lights out. And then, again, this idea that we needed the full game clock.
All of it.
We needed the entire game clock to get that
Almost
W.
more.
But we got it. The team got it. Zips were just some stats were 13 from 16. I think that was the difference in my mind was free throws.
Yeah.
13 of 16 from free throws, where Miami was just 3 for 5. So again, without those free throws, who knows what would have happened? But it was great to see that win. It was great to be there. I know you and I were both there. Yeah. It was just so electric at the end, and so proud of the team. You know, we've had a number of players on the podcast and getting to know them personally and this achievement. We're so happy for Coach Gross and the team. And they're off to Seattle.
Yep.
Off to Seattle. I think they left today.
Yep.
Heading out there for game one on Friday against Arizona. It's tough. Another tough challenge.
Taking on a West Coast team, so going into enemy territory a little bit. But that'll be a great game. Akron 13 seed, Arizona 4. So hoping for the big upset, it's Cinderella run into the tournament.
It's happened before. I've listened to some shows where Akron has been predicted to upset.
I've seen a lot of people picking them as their upset pick.
So let's see what happens. So again, up next Friday, the game time is 7:35 on True TV. But there's also a watch party for those watching. Watch party at Barley House here in Akron. If you want to be with some other Zips to watch that game. Again, that's this Friday at 7:35 Eastern time to watch the Zips take on the Arizona Wildcats. In addition, we had more wins. Swim team.
Yep.
All they do is win, win, win. They took home the gold in the National Invitational Championship over the weekend. Great for, again, another accolade for that team. Nothing can be said more about how good dynasty. I think we've talked about this before. You have to call it a dynasty with Zips swimming.
Yeah, they come off the MAC championship, then they win this tournament, and now they're going to the NCAA championships as well to compete in that.
Yeah, Abby Daniel will be swimming in that national championship this weekend. She's competing in the 200 IM, the 100 fly, and the 200 fly. So 3 races for Abby Daniel. Women's lacrosse.
Yep.
They had a match today. Took home the win against Radford, 18-10. In the process, Noelle Boyd, MAC Player of the Week. So again, lacrosse. I think last year they had 7 total wins. They're already at 6. For this year, knock on wood that we didn't jinx them with that.
Very high scoring offense too. All their games seems like they've been super high scoring. Took out Youngstown State the game before this last one today, and they're going to be back in Akron on Sunday to play Central Michigan.
Another team on campus this past weekend was the softball team. We had Lexi Campbell was our guest last week. Over the weekend, they took one win out of over the weekend against Ball State, but like most things, they're right back at it. Home for a week and then back on the road again, taking on Central Michigan up in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Yep. 3-game series for them up north, so good luck for them. And then they got Ohio State next week.
Ohio State.
Yep. So that'll be a big one to circle on the calendar.
And finally, I guess baseball. We'll talk to our guest today in the suite. We have Coach Faulds from the baseball team. So we're not going to go too much into baseball. We're going to cover it with our interview. But they also played over the weekend, swept by Bowling Green, and we'll talk a little bit more of that. Despite Charlie Schlebler's second baseman, he had a grand slam in Sunday's outing.
There you go.
Just not enough to pull out the win. They also played Pitt yesterday, a loss against Pitt, but I think they have a chance to get out of the cellar here in the MAC, going up to Kalamazoo to take on Western Michigan.
3-game series, so good luck to them, and go Zips.
One more thing before we go. Football is already underway. Spring game is April 25th, but they started spring practice this week. So it's already football season.
Here before you know it.
Already football season. All right, let's bring on our guest.
Here we go.
Thanks, Grant. Coach Faulds, welcome.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good. Have a seat, please. Now, how often have you been up here to the 6th floor of InfoCision Stadium? Pretty nice view.
It's a nice view up here. I like to watch football games up here when I can, and especially when we got some donors in town. It's always nice to get up here and experience it.
And I've also seen you down on the field as well. So I've seen you a couple games. So you big fan of football?
Big fan of the Zips.
Okay.
We try to get out there, support everyone we can, and when we can. And I'll say my daughter loves football games. She loves basketball. She loves baseball. She kind of thinks every field's hers. So she's 2.5, and
2.5.
She thinks anytime she's on the field, she can go down and do whatever she wants.
So is she going to play sports? Is that?
I hope so.
We'll see what happens.
She loves it. She's 2.5, but I'll put it this way: on Saturday morning, we go to the back championship, my wife and I, and we're getting ready to leave for our game, and I turn on TV and it has ESPNU on, the Zips Miami's game on. I go, you want Paw Patrol? She goes, no, ball game.
Oh wow!
So that's always good to see.
You're raising her right. Good job. So before we get deep into this season, definitely want to know more about you, your background. What brought you to Akron? So you have an extensive coaching history. Can you kind of walk us through your journey from player at the College of San Mateo to now being the head coach of the Zips baseball team?
Yeah, I've been all over the country. It feels like. I started off grew up in California, Northern California, East Bay. Went to College of San Mateo, played there for 2 years under Coach Doug Williams, who one of the all-time winningest college baseball coaches in California community college history. From there, went on to Western Illinois, played there for 2 seasons. Had a great time there. Had our last winning season was my junior year there since the program history. So hopefully I can get that thing going again. And then from there, coached a year in high school baseball at Campolundo High School in Moraga, California, right next to St. Mary's.
Okay.
And then after that, coached at College of San Mateo for 6 years, which was tremendous opportunity. Started there as the pitching coach, and my only responsibility was, hey, don't screw up the pitchers, right? Worked my way up to the recruiting coordinator, all the way to the associate head coach. Ran the team for a year as our Coach Williams went on sabbatical to Italy, which was, can't replace that experience of that was. From there, went on and be the pitching coach at Ohio University. We won the MAC championship there in 2017. That was a fun experience. Hopefully we can get that going here. And then from there, went down to St. Edward's University, Division II school. Was the pitching coach there for 4 years, and then took over the program and was the head coach there for 2 years. And went to back-to-back regionals, lost in regional finals both the years, which I'm still bitter about. And then got the opportunity to come here. When I came up here for my interview, I had never been to Akron. Okay. Everyone thought I had because playing in the MAC, right?
2017, there wasn't a team here.
There wasn't a team here. So never been to Akron, and I should not, I haven't told my wife this story yet, but she says don't sign your contract until you call me and tell me about it. Well, I flew in, got here, walked around campus that night, got here, walked around, saw all the facilities, saw where this place is going, and I signed it and then gave her a call. So it has worked out, and she loves the area, and so we're happy to be here.
That's a questionable strategy, but it worked out for you. Good for you on that. So what attracted you? I mean, you talked a little bit about the facilities, but where, obviously the trajectory at the time, there was, I think you were the third coach in 3 years or something like that. But, talk about what you saw. I mean, besides the facilities that you saw was something that was, a positive for you to make that decision.
It's the support.
Okay.
There's the people here. We have the right people in place here to get this thing going successfully. Northeast Ohio wants Akron to be good, and that's you don't get that a lot of places here. You know, it's we want basketball and baseball to be good, or basketball and football, or just football. In this place, they want everyone to be successful, and they're going to give you the support that you have. And you know, I could tell the energy around this place, and people want to give and want you to be successful, and that's exciting. And the players have been tremendous. You know, they've been through a lot, especially these seniors.
Yeah.
And they want this place to be good. They want to be the group that turns this place around, gets us into that conference tournament, keeps building on that.
Great. Let's talk about, before we get into this season, let's put a bow maybe on last season. So last season record was 15-19, 10-20 in the MAC. What were some of the takeaways and lessons learned from last season?
A lot of takeaways. You know, it's kind of the first year is trying to figure out how to win, you know, at this university, and, you know, what it takes to win in the MAC. Yeah, I was here in 16 and 17 in 2 years, but it changes. You know, the conference is 10 times better than what it has been when I was here. Talent, you know, the coaching, everything around, it's anyone's game any day. So you have to be on top of your game. You know, so we learned that. You saw we started off really slow, started off in conference 1-14. And like I said, credit to that group. They didn't quit. They didn't give in.
No.
And, you know, we go sweep, 2 out of 3, sweep. And now we're sitting there going, hey, we're going to the Kent State series, and we have a chance, if we win that series, to go to the last week of the season with a chance to go to the conference tournament. You know, so the will and the want of the players, that hasn't changed, and that has carried over to this year. And we haven't started the way we wanted it in conference, but you know, as you've seen, we're in every single game, and now it's time to get it on our favor.
Yeah, there was that momentum. I mean, as you pointed out, I mean, you had 2 series sweeps and then a series win against some pretty good teams. So there was some momentum going into the offseason. One of the big pieces of news for the team in the offseason was the big gift from the Skeels family, $1.3 million. How has that impacted the team?
Tremendously. You know, Bill and Mary, they're not only are they generous, they're great people. You know, they want Akron, like we talked about Akron being good. They support everybody. They fly up from Atlanta to football games. They're at the MAC tournament.
They were at the MAC tournament.
We go up Saturday, sit with them at the MAC tournament. You know, that gift has put us on an even playing field with the MAC.
So that's helped with player scholarships.
Player scholarships, it's directly to there.
So I mean, I think that's been the tough challenge in the last couple of years, is not having that funding to be able to essentially attract those players. And I think, in your, you know, as a former pitching coach, former pitcher, that's probably been the biggest detriment of not having some of those opportunities to kind of get some good pitching onto campus. So.
No, absolutely. And like I said, with the scholarship piece of things, now we're on a level playing field, and as you can see, I think we're in a lot more games this year, and you know, it's going to take, I think, just probably hopefully this weekend we get it going to, you know, get healthier on the mound, but we have more depth. That's the big thing of it. If you look at our non-conference record, we won 1 midweek game last year, but now I think in our midweeks we're 3 and 4.
Fantastic.
So it's one of those things where that shows you the depth you have on the mound compared to what we had last year.
Sure. All right, let's talk about this season. So let's get caught up to where we're at. So several weeks of non-conference play. You came back 2 weekends ago against Eastern Michigan, and then last weekend against BG. But you have a chance kind of this weekend to maybe get out of the cellar a little bit with Western Michigan.
Yeah, they're a good club. They've probably played one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the country. So they're way better than the record says they are.
And they were the MAC champions.
They were the MAC champions last year. You know, they just beat Michigan yesterday, 6-0. Who Michigan is top of the Big Ten right now, and a good team. So it's, you know, we're 0-6. They're 1-5 in conference. So it's early. You know, it's going to be a really good series. Our biggest key is we have to pitch better.
Pitch better, okay.
All right, we have to pitch better. We got to be more competitive. Our offense and defense has dramatically improved over here the last couple of weeks. And then now it's the pitching side of things. And we challenged them a little bit after the game yesterday of, hey, you know, what's holding us back to getting where we all want to go right now is we got to get better on the mound.
Got it. So that's from the season up until now, that's kind of the big take. The big area of improvement is the pitching.
Yeah, and we thought, going into it, I thought that was going to be one of our big strengths. And so we haven't been up to our ability, and that's on me. I tell them, hey, I'm the head coach. I'm in charge of the pitching. That's on me.
Sure.
And so, you know, we have to work as a group to get better, and we got to get little bit more healthy on the mound, and we're getting there this week, so that's exciting.
So going back to the non-conference schedule, what's kind of your strategy for the games you schedule? Obviously, you can schedule cupcake games that you're going to win, Division II or whatever that is, but also you want to test the players. So what is kind of your strategy when it comes to that kind of pre-conference schedule for the team?
Yeah, so we want to get prepared for the MAC.
Got it.
And like I told you, man, the MAC is much improved. You've seen a lot of MAC baseball, and every year we're getting better, more and more talent in this conference. So, yeah, we can go, like I said, go schedule some cupcake games, but what is that going to teach us to win? Yeah, a little bit, but we need to be challenged in those games. And as you see our non-conference schedule, we played Radford, and you walk away going 2 out of 3. Man, we could have swept that series, but hey, with 2 out of 3 against a good team, they're over 500 right now. And then we go play Jack State, which was a crazy
that was
whole another story.
We can, week of, right?
We can talk about that change on Saturday at Radford. We're sitting there, and we're supposed to go play Bellarmine and Tennessee Martin, and all of a sudden they go, hey, Coach, we're going to get 5 inches of snow in the both natural fields, and so we're going to have to cancel our game. So, again, go back to Bill and Mary Skills. Sure. They helped us tremendously getting down to Alabama to play Jacksonville State, who they went from we're bottom of the cellar team to they are a legit top 50 team in the country. We're facing a 94-96 arm on Friday night, and
that's going to get you ready for the match.
We are. It's a 3-1 game. We have bases loaded, 2 outs, top of the 8th inning, and the guy, Katie Madelon, hits a ball in the gap 105 miles per hour, and they have all the analytics down there.
Yeah.
Like, we have TrackMan and everything here, but they have a whole analytical team. And we know, luckily I know the assistant really well, coached them at Ohio University, and he goes, our center fielder had a 2% chance to catch that baseball. But, that's what I said.
2%, that's baseball.
Hey, he made it, and, they won game 3-1, and he doesn't make that catch, we probably win that game 4-3.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, it's baseball. I call it, we got to turn the worm, and the worm's turning, I feel it.
It is a game of inches.
Yep.
Game of inches. So this season, number of returning players that made an impact last year. Max Bowman, standout season, came back as a graduate student. Yep. Jared Schaefer, who was a first-team All-MAC. Pitcher Jack Kelly had a great season as well. Who are some players you expect to step up, both kind of new and returning for this season?
Yeah, another one, Jack Porsche is having a tremendous year this year
absolutely.
so far. He's carrying us. Max Bowman's doing really well. Evan Matone. Andrew Horvath's leading the team in hitting. He's a returner. He's having a career year, so knock on wood somewhere. Hopefully he can keep that going. And he's behind the plate almost every game, so he's been a leader back there. On the mound, I said Jared Schaefer, he's doing what Jared Schaefer does. He gives us a chance to win every game. And now it's, hey, I challenged him a little bit. It's like, hey, you're giving us a chance. Now you got to go win it. But he's top in the conference in strikeout to walk ratio. Jack Kelly's been out a little bit, so getting him back healthy is going to be a big plus. Looking forward to that. Sean Perkins on the back end's been pretty good too. And one of the newcomers this year that, we're have for unfortunately just for 1 year is Johnny Anzervitz. He's basically one of our back end closers, and unfortunately we haven't had enough closing situations for him to do it. But if you look at his numbers, he's one of the top relievers in the country right now.
That Radford series, he was lights out and kind of give you that.
Radford and the Purdue would win. He was pitched 3 1/3 against Purdue, I think it was, or 2 1/3, and gave up 1 hit. I don't think he even gave up a hit. But he came in some big situations. I think bases were loaded in the 9th inning against Purdue with 1 out. It put him in the game, and he went strikeout. We won that thing in 11 innings or 10 innings, or feels like so long ago now.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, as you start MAC play, everything else kind of just falls by the wayside. But you also have Blake Bowen.
Yep.
Oh man, he's been playing awesome. New freshman first baseman.
Freshman first baseman, right down the road, and transfer from Kentucky. He was one of the top players in the state of Ohio, and he's hitting in the 4-hole, and so we have the pieces.
Yeah, the ingredients are there.
And then we have the pieces to do it, and now I can tell you we just got to be one pitch better, one play better, and it's going to go where we want to go.
So this season, really excited that I think last season we didn't have this, but you're going to be playing a couple games at Canal Park here in Akron where the Rubber Ducks play. Talk about that opportunity from the team's perspective, but also maybe visibility for some prospects.
No, it's anytime you can go play in a minor league baseball stadium or a professional baseball stadium, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of these kids, and what we want is our guys to want to get there.
Yeah.
You know, I want to recruit guys that want to be drafted, that want to get better, to get to that opportunity. And, you know, it's one of those things that those guys can put it in steps on the field and say, hell, well, this is where I want to be one day. And they can picture themselves there because they are there.
Yeah.
And so that's a tremendous opportunity. And, you know, we got University of Pitt coming in for one of those games, and they're playing Youngstown State. So even those guys, we were playing at Pitt yesterday, and their coach was talking about how excited he is. And they get down to Canal Park, he goes, I haven't been there in years, and I'll tell you this, I haven't been there in years. I pitched there one day, and it was the coldest game I ever played. So
he has a history.
He has a history there, and hopefully, I said, well, hopefully it's not as cold as that game was for
no
you.
Kidding. No kidding. Again, for fans, it's a great opportunity to see the team in a different environment than here in Skills Field. It's been a lot of fun. I've been to, I think, almost every game that they've played there at Canal Park, so it'd be great to see the team play there. You know, one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, we talk a lot about, you know, mental health, mental wellness for players and making sure that their head's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, baseball is a tough sport for that. How, as coaches, do you think about, because I think, you know, in baseball, there's probably a lot of second guessing, especially keeping a pitcher in maybe one batter too long or taking a pitcher out one batter too soon. How do you, as a coach, again, focus on your mental well-being, so to speak, and not living perpetually second guessing yourself?
I've got better as the years went along, but I'm still not good at it.
So it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, but I can tell you, we talked about my daughter. That's been game changing for me on the mental side of things. If when I get home, just letting it go till she goes to bed. You walk in, you have kids running around. You know how it is. My daughter has no idea if we won or lost, right? Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
So, you know, getting there, she helps big time. Big old smile and hug, and but it's tough. I still kick myself for Sunday, you know, and walking DJ Newman, who has potential to be the conference player of the year, right? In a 3-0 ball game with 2 outs, first base open, and say, hey, intentionally walk them, and next pitch guy hits a 3-run home run. So it's one of the things you do as a coach is, you know, we have a lot of other resource coaches in the conference that you trust, and coaches around the country you trust, and just calling them and going, hey, what would you do in this situation? And all of them said, I'll do the same thing. So it's like you just sit back and go, hey, like, at least I made the right decision. You know, maybe I didn't make the right pitch call, you know, for the next guy, but decision-based. But it is the name of the game. And luckily, baseball you play almost every day.
You're going to have a game the next day. So there's no time to think about it because you got to prepare for the next. Let's talk a little bit about preparation. You know, in Major League Baseball, sabermetrics, Moneyball, how have you and your coaching staff embraced these advanced analytics? What are you doing to, you know, essentially use big data to be data-driven in your approach to baseball?
So let's talk about support that this place has got. The support of our alumni got us to buy a TrackMan.
Okay.
And for that, it's not only for player development-wise when we're in the fall and spring and making sure guys are spin rates and everything is going the right way, but on the scouting side of things too, it's tremendous. So we get data from every single TrackMan team in the country. So you talk about the analytics of positioning and everything like that. We print off a chart now that tells us where to position guys.
Yeah. And you guys played the shift on a couple games.
We play the shift.
Got to move over some players.
That's all because we have TrackMan, and we have a service called True Media that also does all our charts, hot, cold zones. So we dive heavily into it. And fortunately, when I was young coach, I had to sit there and watch every game and take a pen to paper and chart
Excel
spreadsheet where each ball was hit, and then
you're
watching. You know, you think about it now, guys have 90 to 100 at bats already, so you're sitting there watching every single at bat. And you know, Coach Smith at Ohio, you missed one at bat. He's like, hey, there's only 99. Where's the 101? You're like, oh, I must have missed it. You have to go back and find it. So, you know, Coach Smith, no offense, he prepared me a lot, but you know, he was hard on us, and you know, it was good, and that's why, you know, he won when he was at Ohio Team MAC championships. But tell you how to prepare, and it's one of those things that you gotta stay on top of it because the information is there and it's right.
And if you're not doing it, all of your opponents are doing it.
100%.
So everyone, everything's out there.
Yep.
So you got to embrace that.
The nice thing too on the other side is we now know how our opponents are scouting us.
Good point.
So we can go and go, hey, for example, Jared Schaefer, you know, they're sitting on this and this pitch usually because we can look at it and it's, hey, have I called too many of X, Y, Z's and these counts for their sit on these counts, and hey, here's how their approach is offensively towards us and the pitching side of how they're going to pitch us compared to your hot, cold zones. And so we use it on both sides.
So the preparation is there, but then ultimately it's up to the players to execute on that. But as long as you're prepping and knowing, hey, best chance to be successful, hopefully it gives the players the best opportunity.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do is put them in the best position to succeed. That's the job as a coach, and to make them feel as comfortable and be able to succeed. And this team, they want to win and they know they're prepared, and it's coming.
Got it. We're with Coach Bryan Faulds from the ZIPS baseball team here on ZIPS Nation Insider. Speaking of coaching staff, you've added a couple new assistant coaches to the dugout. Talk a little bit about them and their responsibilities for the team.
Yeah, so Coach Witt, he's been with us since I've been here. He's running the offense now. Coach Brian Valentine, he's taking over coaching third, recruiting coordinator, working with our catchers. He came up from Eastern Oregon. He was the head coach there. A lot of familiar connections we have. A lot of guys, when Coach Salisbury got the opportunity to go into professional baseball, which was always a goal of his.
Sure.
And he's doing tremendous. The Brewers love him. Talked to a couple guys there, and he's doing a great job down in the Dominican Republic. So he's doing well down there. But Coach Valentine's been tremendously helpful recruiting side of things. Opened up a little bit. I'm a West Coast guy, but he was just there.
Got it.
So opened up the Pacific Northwest a little bit more to us. And so, getting the recruiting base a little bit larger for us. And then Coach Van Remortel was the grad assistant at University of Michigan last year. So he's coaching the infielders and coaching first base and helping Coach Witt run the offense.
So with recruiting, one thing we like to ask, when we have coaches on is what are those attributes? What are those things you're looking for in players to essentially make an impact here on the team?
Yeah, we want guys that want to compete. That's number one.
Number one.
We want guys that want to compete and get after it, not just on game day, but in practice. We're running a very heavy, high energy, competitive practice. We want guys that want to be a part of that. The other thing, it's like athleticism. We got to be athletic on the field, on the mound, on hitting side of things. We got to be able to make adjustments. And then obviously we can talk all about velocity.
Yeah.
And we can sit there and say it doesn't matter. It does matter. So you got to have some velocity, but you also have to be able to command the zone.
Sure.
Then like I said, athleticism runs to the defensive side of things. We got to be able to make plays, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
How do you get a chance to then see? I guess to your point, you have someone familiar, Coach Valentine with the West Coast. But what are the opportunities in which you get to scout out players, get to see players?
We had 2 guys on the road today, so we're out watching guys almost every day, and that's the nice thing about it is there's a lot of good baseball in Northeast Ohio. That's a positive thing of it. But we know it's one of the big things is we got to be able to recruit. We can't just recruit off of video and stats. It's baseball's a game where you have to go see them play.
Yeah.
You have to see them succeed. You have to see them fail. That's the big thing because in baseball you're going to fail more times than you're going to succeed.
It's the nature of baseball.
So how do they handle failure? Because
Sure.
we're recruiting the guys that in high school or junior college hopefully aren't failing as much. And when they get here, they're going to fail more. So we want to see them fail and see how they respond. And are they able to, make adjustment at bat to a bat, pitch by pitch, or anything like that.
Probably also those adjustments that you can help them with, right? You know what you can do. You know what the skill that they're at and whether you can make those tweaks to.
Absolutely. No, we're looking at mechanical stuff. Hey, we're see that, and how their body profile is, if they're out of profile or not. We're really big into all the. We talk more about the analytics and motor preferences. That's a whole nother project.
Deep dive into that.
Don't get my wife started on that one. She's heard enough about it where I put her to sleep at night. But it's one of those things where we're really looking at that kind of stuff when we're watching kids and how they're moving and where we can see the fit. If this guy's struggling, but if we do this with him, we think he can do X, Y, Z.
Sure. Yeah, because they're not all perfect, ready to play. I mean,
no. If they were, we would not be getting them. So, there's always keys. As you see the rate of success we've had with guys that were here to what they're doing now, and so that's where we got to develop guys. That's one of the things we got to be. We got to be really good coaches and recruiters, and to me, it's more about development and can you judge that talent? I think we have the right guys in place to do that.
Got it. So I often ask my son, Colin, he's 13, loves baseball, but I asked him, hey, I'm going to be interviewing the coach. You got any questions for him? And this was his question. What are some of the best player nicknames on the team?
Ooh, I stay away from those. I stay
Okay.
away from those.
All right. Colin, he stays away. We're good with that.
I couldn't tell you one nickname they have. I can tell you one. My ones they used to call me the Grinch when I was playing.
Grinch?
The Grinch or Sloth. Those are my 2 nicknames. So
Oh, there we go. There we go.
they say I look like the Grinch. I'll just say that.
I thought maybe you were stingy with your pitching, and maybe one of those things. All right, so baseball players are notoriously superstitious.
Yep.
Do you have any pregame rituals or superstition, things that need to be done to make sure that you get the outcome you want?
When I was playing, I had a couple. I always had to watch Varsity Blues. I had to watch that day before I pitched. I had to watch Varsity Blues. I had to eat. In college, I had to wake up and go get the pancake breakfast from McDonald's.
Okay.
I don't think my junior college coach would be too happy with that. And then I would always I wouldn't eat. And I always had to go socks up. I had to put the right shoe on first. So as I was playing, as you get coaching, some coaches, still have that.
But you don't.
It's kind of gone away a little bit
Okay.
now. If all of a sudden we're won 10 games in a row, I'm probably still doing it. If I got a Starbucks coffee in the morning, I'm probably going to go get the Starbucks coffee. But nothing where I got to do something any day and every day.
Got it. Are there any players that have any of those weird rituals that you?
I'm sure they do.
Okay. We'll have to have some players ask them. But
I think Jack Porce is probably one you need to ask on that, or Max Bowman. He's very analytical. He probably has a couple of those.
Okay. We'll have to have Max on the show. All right. Another question I'd like to ask any guest that comes on. So if we're heading to your hometown. So we're going to, remind me, it is in San Ramon.
San Ramon, California.
Where are we going to pizza in San Ramon?
Pizza. Oof.
It's been probably a long time.
It's been a long time. My family, my mom just moved out to Indiana from San Ramon, but our go-to, you guys probably haven't heard of, is Round Table Pizza.
Sure. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I know Round Table.
My mom used to work for Round Table Pizza.
Okay,
so,
I know Round Table.
I used to sell pizza passes in high school.
Sure.
For $5, and I just grab a stack from home. But my go-to was the Maui Zowie Pizza
From Round
Table Pizza.
Round Table. And then you spent before here was in Austin, Texas. You probably had some good barbecue.
Barbecue, Terry Black's.
Terry Black's
in Austin, Texas. And pizza in Austin is via 313. My wife was down in Austin, and she brought home some via 313 for me, so I was pretty happy about that.
All right. But we have Round Table in San Ramon. We're going to Round Table
Round Table Pizza in San Ramon. And then if you want some good food, we'll go to the Hop Yard in San Ramon. Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Well, thanks for those recommendations. This is our rapid fire segment brought to you by 330 To Go, Northeast Ohio's fastest and hottest growing news and media entertainment network. All right, this is rapid fire, Coach. So these are just the first thing that come to your head.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Sunflower seeds or chewing gum? Your snack in the dugout.
Seeds.
Seeds, guy. Do you have a flavor?
Chinook, it's garlic parmesan.
Okay, there you go.
Now we have turf field, so I can't do them.
There we go. Alan Hoon, make sure you're not getting
Alan
seeds.
Hoon, no seeds.
There we go. Your guilty pleasure TV. It used to be Varsity Blues was the movie. You have a guilty pleasure TV now?
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. All right. There we go. What is one rule in college baseball you would love to change?
There's a lot of them now. Oh, boy. It's the hit-by-pitch rule, the pitch clock, actually, I do like the pitch clock, but there's so many different. We talk about every plate meeting. We don't want to talk about ground rules anymore. We talk about all these rules the umpires have to get involved
So
with.
that list is too big.
It's too big. I can go on and on.
Toughest decision you have to make in a game?
Pinch hitting guy or not.
Okay. Who's your favorite baseball player growing up?
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Loved watching him.
So that was going to be my question. If you're a Giants or an A's? I know
Big
East
Giants.
Bay.
Big Giants.
So even though you grew up in East Bay.
Big Giants.
And you were a pitcher, but you still Barry
Bonds.
Okay.
Barry Bonds and Jason Schmidt was my pitcher.
Jason Schmidt, I don't remember him.
San Francisco Giant.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Barry Bonds. Besides baseball, what is your other favorite sport to watch?
Football.
Football.
Niners guy.
Niners guy. Okay.
He's been rough.
Who was your favorite Niners player?
Favorite Niners player growing up?
Or even now?
Probably Frank Gore.
Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Oh man, so I'm a Seattle Seahawks. Frank Gore, number of opportunities where he just ran through that defense. I was at a game where I think he had like 300 yards rushing. So yeah. I know you like Frank Gore. Not a favorite of mine.
Yeah, I'll say Frank Gore, Garrison Hurst.
Okay.
Those are the two I would say.
Running backs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though I was a defensive end in high school, but I'm supposed to hate running backs, right?
Sure. But that's okay. No, they're great players. All right, final question, Coach. What can fans be excited about for the 2025 ZIPS baseball team?
Yeah, hopefully, like I said, excited brand of baseball. Offensively, we have 6 guys hitting over 300 right now.
Yeah.
We're starting to play a good brand of baseball defensively. Like, knock on wood, last 4 or 5 games, I don't think we've had an error, which is a big plus. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot more winning. And I see a lot more excitement of being come to the yard and, not just hoping we'll win, expect us to win.
Sure,
And that's what's coming next, I think, here in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully you can get up and see us in Avon.
Well, hey, thanks, Coach. Appreciate you being here on Zips Nation Insider. It's been great to learn more about you and what's going to happen with the team this year. So Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.